Looking at this weekend, Hamilton coming to Tannadice. They didn't have a great outing the last time. Are they going to be coming to Tannadice with some revenge on their mind, and how are you going to deal with it?
It's just important, like we always say, we have to take care of us. One thing that will make sure is that we'll be speaking about is that we have to get us right before we can worry about what anybody else is going to do and not going to do. We're still finding ourselves in the Scottish Premiership. So we'll make sure that we go there and we're ready and we try and be the best version of ourselves that we possibly can. And we know that we're going to have to be that to get another important result.
There's been a wee layoff since you played in that Betfred game against St Johnstone. Has that been a time where some of the players have been able to get themselves up to pace and ready for this game that maybe were just a wee bit off the top?
Yeah, we had a wee bit of a mental break and physical break. Important when you get the opportunity to do that you give them that just to get away and get their minds off things for a wee bit. So we had a few days off, and then we just had the normal, as we always do, 4-day lead up to finishing tomorrow, 4-day lead up to the game, where we would just hit the intensities that we would normally be expected to hit. We'd always work on things that we felt that we want to get better at, and that's probably every part of our game. But we give a wee bit more attention to certain things that we feel that we need to really improve on, whilst covering everything else. So it's not really been any different really in terms of preparation, except for over the weekend we had a wee bit of a breather. Well, the players certainly did. We got out and about and watched different games. I went down to Livingston to watch Livingston and Airdrie, enjoyed that. It was a good game. So we just got ourselves out and about.
Do you feel that the euphoria of Scotland qualifying for the Euros next year has spilled over into the dressing room at Tannadice since things happened against Serbia?
I don't think just the dressing room at Tannadice. I think it's gave certainly everybody that is in my environment a massive lift. When I got into training as well, you could tell that it gave all the players definitely a lift as well. It's a big mood lift was very evident. So I think it's important now that you let the Scotland players and the management know how big a deal it was for the country rather than before the game to put any more pressure on, because what it's done for us has been fantastic, and I'm sure we've all enjoyed the big lift that it's gave us, and long may that continue.
When do you expect to get Lawrence back from his duties? Is he likely to be back in the next day or two?
We expect him back training tomorrow. We'll see what kind of condition he's in, because he's been a wee bit planes, trains and automobiles, isn't he, all over the place. He's not played a big part in any of the games. So sometimes what can happen, we kind of know what his training data has been, but it won't be anywhere near what we would like it to be in terms of doing enough training. Sometimes, believe it or not, the ones that are not playing don't do enough, because they don't play in the games, and they don't really do the amount of physical work that would keep them topped up, because the manager has to try and keep them fit without getting injured, without any risk of getting injured. So we'll see what actually the detail of that is, and see what kind of condition we believe he's in. But I think common sense is going to tell you that that week is going to have had an effect on him. So we'll make a judgment call on that for the best for Dundee United. Trust me, won't even worry about that. If we think that it's something that we need to do to give Dundee United a better chance of winning the game, then we'll make that decision.
And how are other team news situations for the weekend coming along?
just Peter Pollock's got a bit of an ongoing operation and might need an operation, might have to go and see a specialist about a groin problem, which maybe knows it's not as bad as what I'm, but it's just he needs to go and maybe get something that might keep him out for a couple of weeks. And then it's just the long-term boys are just moving ahead. But apart from that, we don't really have any bumps and niggles that would keep any or many out of the game as today. So that's good. So we've got a training session tomorrow, and we should be okay for a fantastic game at the weekend.
It may sound like a cliche, it's kind of the last one from me at the moment, but how important is it to get 3 points on the board this weekend and then continue that obviously thereafter and build on these good defensive results that we've had recently?
I think you know what I'm going to say. I think it's always important, isn't it? Wins are great, performances are good, but at the end of the day, you've got to be getting the results, haven't you? Because that's really what football's all about. But what we've got to do is continue working on the performances and try and get them to a place where they're giving us a real good chance because we're performing well of winning games. So we're still working hard to try and do that, but we have no doubt that it's moving in the right direction. We still want to keep improving, and we'll just keep on working hard at that. And that wouldn't really be any different, I don't think, regardless of which stage we were at the season.
Is it just a bonus kind of when you take points against really the top 4 teams that are in the league? But on the other hand of that, is it really, really important that you take every opportunity you've got against every other team?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think obviously Celtic and Rangers, I think that we didn't do ourselves well against away to Rangers, and then at home to Celtic, I felt like we probably deserved at least a point. I thought we'd done really well. Hibs again was another team that they ended up winning the game, but there wasn't much in the game, and obviously Aberdeen we got a point. Them 4 teams are definitely, you would look at it probably being the stronger teams in the league, and then I think there's not much difference between the majority of the other teams in the league. So yeah, you could kind of see it's like a sort of like a mini table down there amongst us from 5th down to bottom. There's teams taking points off each other each week, so we just got to make sure that we're coming out on top and make sure that we're not getting beat, which recently we've done, and we just want to turn some of them draws into wins, and once we do that, we'll kick on up the probably stay in the top 6, like I said, which was the big aim for us.
Hamilton arrive at Tannadice on Saturday, probably with a bit of a dented ego, probably is the word to use. Last time out, they went to Ibrox, leaked 8 goals, second away game on the trot for them in the league. You know, is it going to be difficult against them because their pride's going to be so dented and things, and they're going to come out and think they have to avenge leaking 8 goals the last time they were out?
Yeah, I think Hamilton have been. I think they've always sort of come back fighting. If you look over the years in this league, a lot of teams and a lot of people have always probably written them off, thinking they're going to get relegated or this is going to happen. But they've always fought back. They've got some good players there, and they seem like for the last whatever amount of years they've got a really good spirit at the club. And like I said, you're right. The Rangers game, they lost 8-0, but Rangers are also flying top of the league, and they've been beating everyone. They've been unbeaten all season, so we're not looking into that one as much as what maybe some people will be. But it's going to be a difficult game. Like I said, every game's difficult, but it's a game that we feel like we can win if we apply ourselves right and keep our standards high. But Hamilton, again, it's going to be a difficult game because they're fighting for their lives. They're bottom of the league, and I've been in football long enough. I know how players and teams react from criticism. They want to prove people wrong. So I'm sure they'll turn up on Saturday ready for a game.
We're moving into an even stronger period of restrictions because of this COVID virus in certain areas throughout Scotland. How much does the football still being available to people, admittedly on television, how much do you think that would actually give them back to raise morale, obviously, especially when they find themselves in longer periods at home?
Yeah, huge. I think football is huge all over the world, but obviously, especially in Scotland, I think it's massive. It's certainly not the same not having fans in the stadiums, and I understand the reasons why we can't. But obviously, as soon as it's safe to do that, I think we need to be getting fans back into the stadiums. Thankfully, and lucky enough for us as footballers, we can play, we can keep playing, and hopefully, I know it's not, you want to be sitting in the stands watching, but maybe watching the games from home is not as bad. So hopefully we can keep entertaining these people by them cheering us on at home. But like I said, I think the sooner we can get fans in the stadium and get people back in, and I think football is a release from a lot of things. I think a lot of people have their day-to-day lives and they have their struggles, and I think on a Saturday people come to watch their team, whether it's good or bad, to sometimes to get out of the house, meet up with some friends, with some family, and let off a bit of steam. Sometimes good and bad, but especially us as footballers, you're aware that these people, it's their lives. I know we play football, but I know a lot of people, a lot of friends and family that go to football each week, and they're struggling. They're struggling at the moment, not being able to get that sort of that lease of life of on a Saturday. Maybe you might be getting away from the kids or whatever, or taking the kids with you to football and watching games. And that's a big thing for me, is just the mental side of it, of being able to get people back into the stadiums, like I said, safely and as healthy as we can. And but I think it'll bring a massive lift back to the country and the whole world once we can get that.
And lastly, for me, it's on the subject of today being International Men's Day. I'm not sure if you were aware of that, but
I've seen that earlier.
It's an area, obviously, that they're looking at, obviously publicising, where men in general, especially sometimes men in the public eye, find it very difficult to speak out about, mental health conditions, areas of sexual situations, etc. From there, is that something that you feel is important, to have more days like this to highlight, obviously, the importance of these subjects for men to be able to speak up and stand up in it?
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think everyone in every walk of life, men, women, whatever it may be, have all struggled with mental health issues. And I think the more we speak about it, especially us, like you said, in the public eye, if the more we can bring it to the front and speak about it more, and like you said, today is Men's Day, and I think it's amazing that we're speaking a lot more about it, because, like I said, whenever I started out in football 15 years ago back in England and stuff, there was no word of mental health. There was no one really even understood the meaning of it. Like, if you said to me 10, 15 years ago, mental health or what it is, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it was. But now everyone's aware of it. And I think the more people are talking about it, I think people are actually taking on board, oh, maybe I am struggling a bit, and that's purely just from people talking and being honest. And like you said, we're all men. Like, I've had my struggles. Everyone's struggled. Everyone's had highs and lows in their lives, in their football, in their careers, at home with their families. But the more we talk about it, and especially through these times, it's helping each other and being there for someone, just a phone call away. And it's not easy. It's not easy, especially, listen, without COVID, it's not easy. But especially now, I think it's a big time for us all to just be mindful of each other and help each other out. And social media and stuff can be a bad place at times, but also, like I said, that's how I seen it today, that it was men's health day and stuff like that. And hopefully we can use it for the benefit of other people and bring a positive feeling about it, because mental health for everyone, not just men, women, everyone in the world is huge. And if we can help anyone out in any way, I think it's massive that we do it.